Take a big, slow, deep breath in through your nose, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now slowly exhale and push that breath and all the stress and tension out of your body. 4, 3, 2, 1. That calm you're feeling right now? That's what you get with HubSpot. Their all-on-one customer platform replaces the chaos of all those random tools you're using now with a single, powerful platform for all your teams. Get everyone on the same frequency and boost output. Take care of the tedious stuff with AI-powered tools, generate better leads for marketing, close more deals for sales, and earn more 5-star reviews for service. So don't hold your breath. Enjoy the zen that HubSpot brings to growing your business. Visit HubSpot.com to learn more today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday, June 20th. I'm John Weigell here with Juliet, Bennett, Ryla, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. AI is clearly taking over some jobs out there, but the workers who may be feeling it most right now are freelancers. Companies that are looking to take shortcuts on budgeting are making use of ChatGPT, and writers and creatives are noticing a drop in available work. So has this decreased freelancer demand on sites like Fiverr and Upwork been catastrophic, or is it just not as awful as it sounds? We'll get to that in a bit, but first let's give you the hits and headlines today in business and tech. Starting us off, TikTok and the U.S. government are at it again. The FTC threatened the app's parent company ByteDance with a lawsuit after the agency found TikTok to be, quote, violating or about to violate the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Next, over to space. Boeing's Starliner spacecraft made it safely to the International Space Station, but it's having some trouble getting home. Helium leaks and thruster issues have turned the planned 8-day trip into a 20-day trip for the 2 astronauts who are on board. All right, next up, streaming giant Netflix will open Netflix Houses, which are entertainment complexes containing retail, restaurants, and experiences related to Netflix shows. And they're going to be in Pennsylvania and Texas next year. In some beer news, non-alcoholic beer brand Athletic Brewing bought a new facility across the street from its San Diego plant. It's projected to double production capacity when it opens next year. And finally, fired NBA coach Monty Williams is living all of our dreams. He'll be paid $65 million over the next 5 years just to, not show up for work. Better yet, he's not going to have to watch the Detroit Pistons play basketball anytime soon. So have a great time, Monty. All right, on to the main story today. So it's a bit more AI doom and gloom on the docket here. The latest in the AI is taking your job news centers around freelance positions. So, Juliet, has demand already started going down here for freelancers?
Yes, and that is according to a report that we are looking at from Harvard Business School, the Imperial College Business School, and the German Institute of Economic Research. They analyzed about 2 million online job postings across 61 countries from July 2021 to July 2023. Mm-hmm. And specifically, they're looking at job postings that are on online freelancer platforms. So we're talking about things like Upwork and Fiverr. So These aren't full-time, salaried, health insurance benefits jobs. They're freelance gigs that you would find online. What they found was that since November of 2022, so basically since ChatGPT made its debut and everything has become AI all the time, demand for online freelancers has dropped across a couple of different industries. I think it will probably not surprise anyone to know that writers were heavily affected, about 30%, coders, 20%, people who create images, so that's stuff like graphic design and 3D modeling dropped about 17%, and social media posting, data entry, those kind of jobs dropped 13%. So we have seen some decline in this time period.
Yeah. Which isn't exactly surprising. I mean, there have been a lot of stories that we've covered about like AI taking jobs, but writers have been severely impacted. Mm-hmm. I mean, like there was that huge WGA strike. A lot of writers were protesting AI being used in Hollywood and AI being used to write scripts for movies. But, a lot of those scripts that AI is writing aren't exactly very good. But as AI gets better, I see that gap closing a little more.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. Right now, a lot of the stuff that I see that is AI generated is the Willy Wonka experience script, where all of a sudden there is a weird guy coming out of the wall. Not to say that with a little finessing, I wouldn't watch that exact movie, to be fair. And I think this is kind of something that we're seeing reflected in some of this data, and also something that speaks to the freelance writing industry at large. Because one thing that one of the study's authors noticed was that despite the fact that there was a decline in demand for freelance writing gigs, the pay rates actually increased, not by a lot. It was very slight. But that is indicating that the jobs that are being replaced by AI right now were the lowest paying jobs. And these are like short, simple, probably, little blog posts, maybe a couple lines summarizing something.
Yeah.
The kind of jobs that you see people saying they'll do for a couple bucks anyways. And I think that is a really interesting point because as someone who has spent some time on those kind of platforms, as someone who has been a freelance copywriter, copy editor, etc., you will find so many gigs that are like, yeah, I need somebody to write blog posts that are like 500 words, pay $15, pay $10. It's like for $10, the quality that you are going to get per blog post might as well be AI.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Another theory, maybe why the prices have gone up for some freelancers is because specialty exists. You need someone who's an expert in some field, or you need somebody who's very good at writing a particular type of thing. AI hasn't exactly gotten to the place yet where it can be very nuanced in what it writes, and very original also is another big thing.
Right. And it lacks context and it lacks knowledge base. It has no fact checking of itself. We saw that when people were basically producing AI generated foraging books and selling them on Amazon. We've talked about that on this podcast before, which is a great way to get a robot to kill you by telling you to eat the wrong mushroom. So yeah, there are still copywriters who I think will make a sizable amount of money, but that's because they are specialized in certain industries. That's because the work that they put out is actually very good and you don't have to rewrite it or fact check it. I mean, obviously you're going to want to fact check anything, but not against like an AI robot that tells you to put glue on pizza or some of the other things that we've seen AI do because it lacks that context and that specialization.
Right. And, we talk a lot about AI being used by companies to write things, to do whatever, by businesses. But what about on the other side of that coin? What about freelancers? Are freelancers themselves also using AI to maybe complete their tasks a little faster?
Of course they are. I think what we're going to learn about AI is that everyone is going to use it to be lazy and cheat and try to get out of doing the hard work or paying equitable wages. And we're going to do this until we drive ourselves into an AI generated hellscape. And then maybe we'll finally be like, you know what, this was a bad idea. AI is really great for some things, but maybe not everything. There was a Forbes article where a guy was saying, yeah, I uploaded 2 jobs to Upwork. I got about 300 applications and I could tell over 200 of them were written by AI, which, I can see sort of why people might do that because when you're on Upwork or Fiverr, you are applying to numerous jobs.
Yeah.
How many times are you supposed to write a cover letter for somebody that might not ever even get back to you? I get it. But a lot of these people, I think, are really phoning it in where they're not using AI as a productivity tool. They're using it for the whole thing. And that is really obvious. In fact, he was saying he once hired a writer who turned in work that suspiciously had no knowledge past the year 2021, which that was ChatGPT's deal a while back. It has to catch up.
True.
Now there are businesses that are like, there's a guy who will rewrite your AI generated content for you for a very, very cheap rate. There are people who are like, do you want to save some money? I will use ChatGPT and I'm telling you right now, and that's why it's going to cost less. So We're basically just seeing deterioration on both sides. Writers who are phoning it in, using a bot. I don't know if you even want to call someone a writer. All they're doing is putting a prompt, which they probably copied and pasted from the job description into ChatGPT. And then you've got these companies that think they can skimp and then they end up with trash content. And I think we're already seeing some of that trash content. I can sometimes tell when I'm like browsing a website and it has a blog component that I was like, I am reading something about nutrition and it was clearly written by a robot that does not have a body.
All this is clearly the epitome of you get what you pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't pay someone who could do the work well or do it right, if they're looking to skimp out, they're going to get skimped out work and their product is going to suffer because of it. So I guess the big moral here is if you want something written well, hire a person that writes stuff well. If you want it written poorly and you want to zhuzh it up, I guess that's something you could do for free.
Yeah. And if you want to see an example of this, find one of those websites that is like a pop culture website and it'll be like the 10 whatever horror movies from 1990 or like 20 things you don't catch when you watch Game of Thrones for the first time or whatever. And these are the type of writing jobs that you'll find where because they're pop culture themed and they know that people want to write fun stuff, they'll be like, we will hire you for $20 per article. And then you'll realize, if you're actually like a fan of the show or something, that this was written by someone who's never seen it. They're just like on Wikipedia, episode guide, whatever. That's the kind of writing that you get when somebody is sitting there writing 10 listicles a day for $20 a pop. Now you can have AI do it, and it's going to be just as bad. And I think what we're going to find out is that kind of content where it's just a slideshow because you're trying to get 30 clicks was always crap. It doesn't matter who does it. And the moral of the story is no one wants to read that crap. The internet is so full of it. Let's get rid of it, whether it's bot or AI, and just pay people a fair, equitable living wage to actually be able to research something and produce actually good, pleasant to read, fun content.
Yep. The era of 2014 BuzzFeed articles has very much gone by, yeah. Including my beloved quizzes. So,
sad. Tell
me I'm a princess. Which one? I don't know. All right. And that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more business and tech coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get yourself signed up at thehustle.co/email, and we'll see you tomorrow.